Life does not reward the weak, the hesitant, or the ones who sit and hope for miracles. Life bows only to those who dare to bend it, those who refuse to be victims of circumstance. Every single second you are alive, you are either choosing to dominate or to be dominated. That's the truth most people run from. You want the world to bend for you? Then stop waiting for permission. Stop crying about fairness. Stop looking for sympathy. Nobody is coming to save you. The world respects power, and power comes from mindset. You must carry yourself like a force of nature. When you walk into a room, your energy should demand attention. When you face obstacles, your beliefs should crush them before your body even begins the work. The secret is brutal but simple. Think as if losing is impossible, act as if time is running out, and push as if your life depends on it. Because it does. The ones who rise to greatness are not the smartest, not the luckiest, but the most relentless. Control your thoughts, control your actions, and soon the world itself will kneel before you. Mindset is the foundation of all power, and without it, you are nothing more than a passenger in your own life. You can have the strongest body, the sharpest skills, the biggest opportunities, but if your mind is weak, you will collapse the moment life tests you. Everything begins in the mind. Every empire, every fortune, every breakthrough that ever changed the course of history was born first as a thought, a belief that refused to die. And that is the difference between the ones who rise and the ones who are forgotten. Those who rise decide that their mind will be unshakable. They understand that control of the inner world creates control of the outer world. You must learn to rewire the way you think because the world is nothing more than a reflection of your own beliefs. If you believe you are powerless, the world will confirm it. If you believe you are destined to dominate, the world will bend to make that vision real. Your mind is the master architect of your reality, and if you build it with weakness, you will construct a life of mediocrity. But if you build it with strength, with certainty, with fire, there is nothing that can stand against you. People love to say they want success, but their minds are filled with doubt, excuses, and fear. That's why they stay stuck. You cannot think like a victim and expect to live like a victor. You cannot fill your head with poison and expect your life to taste sweet. Every thought you allow inside your head is a seed, and you will always reap the harvest. If you plant weakness, you get weakness. If you plant strength, you get strength. So ask yourself, what seeds are you planting daily? Do you feed your mind with limitation, or do you force it to believe in greatness even when it hurts? Because the truth is, greatness is uncomfortable. Reprogramming your mind is war. You will fight yourself every morning when the alarm goes off, every time you feel tired, every time life tells you to quit. But if you can conquer that battle inside your skull, then nothing outside can touch you. Mindset is not some soft concept. It is war paint for the soul. It's the ability to look at pain and smile, to look at failure and see fuel, to look at rejection and feel hunger. Most people fold when life hits them. They cry, they look for comfort, they beg for someone to make it easier. But the powerful mind thrives under pressure. It understands that every setback is a test, and every test is a chance to sharpen the blade. The strongest warriors are not the ones who avoided battle, but the ones who fought scarred and broken and still refused to stop swinging. Your mind must be trained the same way. You don't get strength by hiding from discomfort. You get it by facing it head on until it becomes normal. The world does not care about your feelings, your tears, or your excuses. The world cares about results. And results are born in the mind before they are born in reality. You think like a king long before you wear a crown. You think like a champion long before you hold a trophy. You must train your mind to accept nothing less than victory, because that belief is what drives the actions that produce it. Most people fail before they even start because their minds whisper lies. You can't. You're not ready. What if you lose? And they believe it. But the powerful mind answers back, what if I win? What if I dominate? What if the impossible bends for me? That kind of thinking rewrites destiny. Understand this. Mindset is not about false positivity. It's about ruthless clarity. It's about telling yourself the brutal truth. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody owes you anything, and you must create the life you want with your own two hands. Once your mind accepts this truth, you stop waiting and start moving. You stop hesitating and start attacking. The world bends for the ones who demand it, not the ones who politely ask. Every second you allow weakness in your mind, you are giving away your power. Power belongs to those who think in absolutes, who live with conviction, who refuse to let doubt poison their vision. That is why the mind is the foundation. A weak foundation will collapse under the first storm, but a strong one can hold up an empire. You must become relentless about guarding your mental state. Surround yourself with strength. Cut out the voices of mediocrity and feed your brain with the fuel of victory. This is not a game. This is survival. When you master your mindset, you become unstoppable. Pain will not break you. Loss will not define you. Fear will not control you. And the world, with all its chaos and resistance, will have no choice but to bend under the weight of your will. That is the power of mindset. That is the foundation of everything. And until you make it unshakable, you will always live at the mercy of the world instead of commanding it. The world respects confidence, not excuses. And this is a truth that will follow you into every room you ever enter, every opportunity you ever chase, every relationship you ever build. People don't follow the timid. They don't trust the hesitant. And they don't bow to the one who stutters when it's time to claim what's his. The world bows to confidence because confidence signals power. Confidence is the silent announcement that says, I know who I am, I know what I want, and I will not be denied. Excuses, on the other hand, are the language of weakness. They are the shield of those too afraid to face reality. Nobody admires excuses, nobody is moved by them, and nobody remembers the man who spent his life explaining why he couldn't. They remember the one who declared he could, even when everyone laughed. Confidence is magnetic. When you speak with certainty, people listen. When you move with conviction, doors open. When you present yourself as someone who cannot be shaken, the world gives you opportunities it hides from others. And here's the irony. Most people think confidence is something you're born with, as if it's written into your DNA. That's a lie. Confidence is built. It is forged through action, through risk, through repetition of courage until it becomes your nature. Confidence comes when you stop hiding behind excuses and start proving to yourself every single day that you are capable of more than you thought. Excuses are poison. They give you temporary relief while they slowly eat away your life. Every time you say, I can't because of this, I won't because of that, you are teaching your brain that weakness is acceptable. You are rewarding yourself for failure. And once you make that your pattern, you've already lost. You cannot build greatness on a foundation of excuses. The truth is brutal, but liberating. Nobody cares about your reasons. They only care about your results. If you win, the world applauds. If you lose, the world shrugs. You can cry about fairness, but it won't change reality. Confidence understands this truth and refuses to play the victim. Confidence says the odds don't matter. The obstacles don't matter. Watch me make it happen anyway. Confidence is not arrogance. Arrogance is empty. It's loud. It's desperate for validation. True confidence doesn't need to scream. It is felt. It radiates. You know you're in the presence of someone powerful, not because they were boasting, but because everything about them communicates certainty. Their posture, their eyes, their words, their energy, it all tells you they believe in themselves, and that belief forces you to believe too. Excuses can never create that effect. Excuses drain energy. They make people pull away. Nobody is drawn to a man who explains why he failed, but everyone is drawn to the one who declares he will succeed no matter what. To build this kind of confidence, you must start by keeping promises to yourself. Every time you set a goal and follow through, your confidence grows. Every time you push past discomfort instead of giving in, your confidence grows. Every time you silence the excuses and take action, your confidence grows. It is built brick by brick until one day you wake up and realize there is no situation that shakes you anymore. You've proven to yourself too many times that you can handle anything. That inner proof is what makes confidence unshakable. Look at the people who dominate in any field: business, sports, art, leadership. Do you think they are the most talented? Rarely. They are the most confident. They carry themselves like they belong in the spotlight even before anyone else believes it. And because they act like they belong, the world eventually agrees. People follow confidence because it gives them certainty. They want to be led by someone who doesn't flinch. And when you are that person, opportunities chase you, but excuses will bury you. Excuses are seductive because they let you escape responsibility. They make you feel safe in the moment, but they chain you to mediocrity for life. Every time you excuse your lack of progress, you kill your own power. Excuses are lies you tell yourself to avoid the truth. You didn't try hard enough. You didn't push far enough. You didn't believe deeply enough. A confident person rejects those lies. They look reality in the eye and say, yes, I failed, but watch me rise again. That kind of mindset builds respect. Confidence is the weapon that cuts through fear. It doesn't mean you don't feel fear. It means you refuse to let fear dictate your choices. It means you act boldly despite the uncertainty because you trust yourself to figure it out along the way. And once you start acting this way, you discover something powerful. The world bends for confidence. People want to help you. They want to invest in you. They want to stand next to you because confidence is rare and valuable. So understand this. The world will never hand respect to the one who explains why he's weak. It will hand respect to the one who shows he is strong. Confidence earns admiration. Excuses earn pity. And pity has never built an empire. If you want to live a life worth remembering, burn the excuses and build the confidence. Walk into every room like you belong there. Speak as if your words carry weight. Move as if success is inevitable. And it will be. Because the world respects confidence, not excuses. Relentless action destroys fear and doubt. And this is the greatest truth most people never live by. Fear is nothing more than hesitation multiplied, and doubt is the parasite that grows inside a mind that doesn't move. The longer you sit still, the louder fear becomes. The longer you think instead of act, the more doubt takes root. Fear and doubt feed on inaction. They thrive in the spaces between your thoughts and your actions. But the moment you move, the moment you act, you starve them. Relentless action is the hammer that smashes hesitation, the fire that burns through the fog of uncertainty, the weapon that silences the voices in your head that try to keep you small. Most people spend their lives waiting for fear to disappear before they act. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect feeling. And that moment never comes because fear doesn't vanish with time. It grows. The only way to kill it is through movement. When you take action, you prove to yourself that fear is powerless. When you keep moving, doubt has no time to sink in. Action rewires your brain to see possibility instead of paralysis. Relentless action turns I can't into I will and what if into watch me. You must understand that fear is natural, but it is not final. Everyone feels it. The difference between the weak and the powerful is not that the powerful never feel fear, but that they act anyway. They move so fast, so consistently, that fear never has the chance to chain them down. Every time you take a step forward in the face of fear, you take away its control. Fear thrives in imagination, but it dies in execution. Doubt thrives in overthinking, but it collapses when faced with results. This is why relentless action is non-negotiable. Relentless action means refusing to pause, refusing to retreat, refusing to be paralyzed by the weight of what if. It means attacking your goals daily with a consistency so ruthless that failure doesn't stand a chance to stick. The man who takes one small action every single day will always defeat the man who waits for the perfect plan because action compounds. Every move forward builds momentum. Every step you take strengthens your belief, and belief kills doubt faster than any motivational words ever could. The ones who achieve greatness are not the ones who knew the most or had the best resources. They are the ones who kept moving when others froze. They are the ones who showed up over and over until the world had no choice but to acknowledge their persistence. Relentless action makes you unstoppable because even when you fail forward. Even when you fall closer to your goal than the man who never moved. Action turns failure into feedback and feedback into fuel. Doubt cannot survive in a mind that learns and adapts through relentless doing. You don't need to have it all figured out to start. You don't need perfect confidence, perfect clarity, or perfect resources. All you need is the decision to move and then keep moving. Confidence grows from action, clarity grows from action, success grows from action. But fear and doubt grow from stillness. That is the line. Which side you live on is determined not by what you want, but by what you do. Relentless action is not about speed alone. It's about persistence. It's about showing up every single day, whether you feel like it or not. It's about refusing to let emotions dictate your effort. The weak stop when they're tired. The powerful keep going because relentless action is their standard. The weak hesitate because they don't trust themselves. The powerful act because they know trust is built through action. And the moment you commit to this level of persistence, you separate yourself from almost everyone else, because most people quit long before they ever see results. Fear is loud in the beginning, but it always quiets down when you move through it. Doubt screams when you're still, but it gets drowned out by the noise of progress. Every time you take action, no matter how small, you prove to yourself that you can push forward, and that proof stacks. Over time, you become unstoppable, not because fear is gone, but because you've taught yourself that action always beats it. That's the secret most people never learn. Fear doesn't go away, but it doesn't need to. You simply need to become someone who acts regardless. When you look at the people who built unshakable lives, you'll notice a pattern. They were relentless. They didn't stop after the first failure. They didn't freeze when doubt tried to whisper. They didn't wait for someone to validate their dream. They acted again and again until they carved reality into the shape they wanted. And this is the power you hold too, if you are willing to act without hesitation, without retreat, without excuse. So burn this truth into your soul. The mind can lie, fear can intimidate, doubt can whisper, but action never deceives you. Action tells you exactly who you are and what you can do. The man who acts relentlessly will always outrun the man who thinks endlessly. The world bends not to hesitation, but to those who move forward no matter what. Relentless action destroys fear and doubt forever. Discipline is the weapon that forges dominance, and without it, all your ambition, all your talent, all your dreams collapse into nothing. Discipline is the difference between the man who talks about greatness and the man who achieves it. It is the force that carries you when motivation dies, the armor that protects you from distraction, the sword that cuts through weakness. Discipline is not glamorous. It is not exciting. And it is rarely celebrated, but it is the foundation of every empire ever built. When discipline is present, progress is inevitable. When it is absent, failure is guaranteed. Most people worship motivation. They wait for the spark, the feeling, the perfect wave of energy that will carry them forward. But motivation is a liar. It fades the moment life gets hard, the moment you're tired, the moment comfort whispers in your ear. If you build your life on motivation, you will live as a slave to your emotions. Discipline is different. Discipline does not care how you feel. Discipline does not negotiate. Discipline is the voice that says, do it anyway. When you have it, you no longer need motivation because your actions are no longer tied to your moods. You move whether you're tired or energized, happy or broken, because discipline commands you. That is what forges dominance. Dominance is not achieved in the spotlight. It is built in silence. It is built in the early mornings when nobody sees you working, in the late nights when nobody claps for your effort, in the countless repetitions that look invisible to the outside world. Discipline is what makes you do the work when the applause is gone. It is the private war you win every day that allows you to dominate in public. Without discipline, you crumble when the world tests you because your foundation is weak. With discipline, nothing can shake you because you've trained yourself to move forward no matter what. Discipline is a weapon because it cuts down excuses before they grow. It eliminates the noise of hesitation, the weakness of delay. The moment you decide to live with discipline, you declare war on the part of you that wants comfort and ease. That part of you will scream, it will resist, it will try to bargain, but discipline silences it with action. You wake up when you said you would, you work when you said you would, you train when you said you would, and each time you follow through, you sharpen the blade. Each time you keep your word to yourself, you harden into something unbreakable. That hardness is what others call dominance. Dominance is not about controlling others. It is about controlling yourself so completely that the world has no choice but to respect you. The man who has discipline owns himself. He cannot be swayed by laziness, seduced by distractions, or broken by temporary setbacks. He becomes unstoppable because his actions are consistent no matter the conditions. That consistency compounds into mastery, into wealth, into strength, into influence. People look at him and see someone unshakable, someone who commands respect simply by how he carries himself. That aura is not magic. It is the result of discipline. Most people lose because they cannot win the war with themselves. They make promises they never keep. They set goals they never follow through on. They let their moods dictate their effort. And then they wonder why life doesn't reward them. Life doesn't reward wishes. Life rewards discipline. Every day you either train discipline or train weakness. Every time you hit snooze, every time you skip the work, every time you choose comfort over growth, you are sharpening the blade of weakness instead of the weapon of discipline. And when the day comes to fight for your dreams, weakness will cut you down. Discipline is the great equalizer. You may not be the smartest, the fastest, or the most gifted, but if you are disciplined, you will surpass those who rely only on talent. Talent without discipline is wasted potential. Discipline without talent still creates results. And when discipline and talent combine, dominance becomes inevitable. This is why discipline is the weapon, because it turns ordinary men into extraordinary forces, and it ensures that even extraordinary men do not waste their gift. You must see discipline not as a punishment, but as freedom. Freedom from the chains of laziness, from the prison of inconsistency, from the weakness of quitting. Discipline is what frees you from living at the mercy of your emotions. Discipline says, I control me, not my feelings, not my excuses. And when you live like that, the world bends to your will. Because the man who can master himself can master anything. So understand this truth. Dominance is not given, it is forged. And the forge is discipline. The heat of repetition, the hammer of consistency, the grind of daily obedience to your own standards. That is how the weapon is made. And once it is made, once you become disciplined beyond question, you become unstoppable. You no longer need motivation. You no longer fear failure. You no longer bow to distraction. You move with certainty, with power, with command. That is dominance, and discipline is the weapon that forges it. When you think without limits, you live without chains. Most people are not trapped by the world. They are trapped by their own minds. They walk through life carrying invisible shackles forged from fear, doubt, and the lies they've been told since childhood. They believe in ceilings that don't exist, rules that aren't real, and restrictions that only survive because they refuse to challenge them. The truth is brutal but liberating. The only chains that hold you are the ones you accept. The day you decide to break them, the day you refuse to think small, is the day you start to live free. Thinking without limits is the ultimate rebellion because it declares war on everything average. The world teaches you to play safe. It tells you to shrink, to follow the rules, to accept your place. It whispers, be realistic. Don't dream too big. Stay in your lane. That poison kills more dreams than failure ever will. Realistic is another word for chains. It convinces you that aiming high is dangerous, that ambition is reckless, that greatness is reserved for someone else. But when you think without limits, you spit in the face of that lie. You stop asking, what if I fail? And start asking, what if I dominate? You stop begging for permission and start taking what is yours. The moment your thinking expands beyond the walls built around you, your life expands with it. Every breakthrough in history came from someone who thought without limits. The men and women who bent the world did not ask if it was possible. They decided it would be. They refused to let society, fear, or circumstance chain their vision. They saw beyond what was, and because they dared to see it, they created it. That power is inside you too, but only if you kill the voice that tells you to settle. Limited thinking is the enemy of progress, the silent thief of destiny. If you let it control you, you will die with your potential still inside you. When you think without limits, obstacles lose their power. A limited mind sees a wall and stops. An unlimited mind sees a wall and starts looking for ways over, under, or through it. The wall doesn't shrink, but your belief grows so big it no longer matters. Chains fall when your perspective shifts from I can't to I must. Fear fades when you realize the cage you were in was never locked. You simply never tried the door. Thinking without limits is about rejecting the idea that anything is impossible, because the truth is, most things people call impossible are just things nobody was relentless enough to achieve. Living without chains is not about ignoring reality. It is about refusing to let reality dictate your destiny. It's about deciding that the rules don't apply to you if they keep you small. Most people build their identity on limits. I can't because I wasn't born rich. I can't because I don't have the right education. I can't because I don't have support. Those are chains. When you think without limits, you rewrite that script. You say, I will because I demand it. I will because I will outwork, outlast, and outbelieve anyone who doubts me. I will because nothing outside of me can control the fire inside of me. That mindset creates freedom. Living without chains doesn't mean life gets easier. It means you stop seeing challenges as barriers and start seeing them as opportunities to prove your strength. Chains make you fragile because they keep you dependent. Limitless thinking makes you powerful because it forces you to depend only on yourself. And the man who depends only on himself cannot be broken. That is true freedom, not comfort, not safety, but the unshakable belief that nothing can stop you. When you think without limits, your actions transform. You stop settling for scraps and start demanding abundance. You stop lowering your standards and start raising your efforts. You stop surviving and start conquering. Chains keep you in the same cycle. Wake up.